hang out with my wife. So we are going to be talking about it. There is a lot of things changing in the Middle East. Now, whether it's good or bad, that's going to be up to you. Talk of the Abraham Accords, talk about, the post-op of what happened between Iran and Israel. What does the future of that look like? Iran is now starting to come out and check out a little bit more bellicose stuff. We heard from Khomeini today. So there's a lot of talk about a new look to the Middle East, or a new Middle East. Now, whether you believe that or not, whether you like that or not, whatever, we're just gonna take you through it. Other things going on. There's a lot of problems going on under the surface with our dollar, and we like to talk about the financial here and all that. And I think it's important. As my father says, and I get to see him here pretty soon. They're coming up to see us this weekend. Everything comes down to money, son. Everything comes down to money. And you know what? Let's say he's right. That's the way I see it. So, our dollar is getting weaker. And it's doing strange things. I'm going to kind of take you through that as well. Okay? So, let's get started here on the Crisis Report. I appreciate you. Hit the buttons and stuff. PrepperNow is probably very close to, I'm at 49,996 subscribers. We're about to round the bend on 50,000, so tomorrow will be a celebratory extravaganza that 5 years and a couple months ago we started PrepperNow, and now it's basically at 50,000 subscribers. It's crazy. My wife was proud of me too. So yeah, you did it. You kind of built it and did it on your own. I did. Most people around me still don't know I even have the darn thing. It's just my wife, my mom and dad. But anyway, a lot of the people that are here came from over there, and you guys are awesome. I really appreciate you. Being able to come here and talk about all this stuff, it keeps me sane, to be honest with you. I need it. I need to be able to talk about this stuff. There's a lot of problems going on, and it's helpful to be able to talk about it. And with people that kind of see what I see and say, oh, I don't like that either. That's bad. So, the Crisis Report is just that. The Crisis Report is basically here so we can, talk about all the things in the news. You can strap on the earbuds and you can go about your day. You can hear everything in about a 30-minute time frame. So you don't have to waste time. You can cook dinner, garden, mow the lawn, whatever, work out, do your thing, listen, and get everything that you need. All that's going on. Go to numerous sites, about 25, 30 of them, depending on the day, and get a bunch of stuff. So we are going to get started right now. Excuse me. This is your Crisis Report for June 26, 2025, and it is entitled A New Middle East ? Here we go. North Korea sending more troops to Russia for Ukraine war, according to Seoul. China hosts defense ministers from Iran and Russia for a meeting against the backdrop of war in the Middle East and a summit of NATO countries in Europe that agreed to boost military spending. So NATO's doing its thing. Well, the supposed axis of evil is meeting themselves, and Iran's supreme leader, Khomeini, has given a video message. He basically was scared, crapless, that he was going to get taken out by Mossad and the Israelis, I think. I think he's been in a bunker and he's not coming out. So he spoke and he gave a message today. We're going to cover some of the stuff there. He congratulated the country on their victory over Israel, so they won. Iran's Guardian Council spokesperson says parliamentary bill to suspend cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog has been approved. So they're going to get out of the NPT and the IAEA and all that stuff. And that should go well for everybody, I'm sure. Khamenei said that the United States entered the war because it felt that if it did not, Israel would be completely destroyed. And that's basically the narrative that's going on over there. Iranian state TV aired the first Khamenei video message since the ceasefire. Spaceship carrying astronauts from India, Poland, Hungary is docked at the ISS, according to NASA. I think that's kind of cool. I like when a bunch of different countries are working together. That's good. You know, you want your own little thing in your own country, but we want everybody working together at the same time. Khamenei says that Iran will never surrender to the United States. He also threatened to strike United States bases again if we were attacked. Okay. He said that nothing significant in the United States strikes on the nuclear sites. So again, it's all back and forth. Nobody knows. Were they taken out? Were they not? Were they not? You know, it's all over the place. Elon Musk has fired M.Ed Afshar, Tesla's head of operations for North America and Europe. Tesla sales are crashing. They are like 60-70% less in Europe alone. So not good. Senator Alyssa Slotkin calls for a ban on cell phones in every K through 12 classroom in the U.S. I mean, other countries are doing it. The things are terrible for you. You can't keep them out of their hands. They always sneak it. They go to the bathroom. They do everything they can to keep them in their hands. It's just, you know, it is what it is. White House, FBI investigating who leaked assessment of Iran strikes. Massive fireball seen falling from the sky over Tennessee, South Carolina, and Georgia. I saw the video of it. It looks like a meteorite, you know, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. Trump says the Democrats leaked the intel on the Iranian strikes. Oh, I'm sure they would never do anything like that. Trump's administration is going to deport Abrego Garcia again, this time to an unnamed third country. Hollywood actor Brad Pitt's Los Angeles home was broken into, according to the NBC. So safe out there. An Egyptian man has been deported by DHS after he kicked a CBP working beagle named Freddie at the Dulles airport. Now, I don't know about you, but I like that guy gone. Nobody kicks a beagle on my watch. You guys remember Big Balls? Well, he's back. He's now working at the Social Security Administration as a special government employee, baby. He's got the biggest balls of them all, and he is going to hopefully go in there and get that organization back to where it needs to be, because we are broke. We're going to show you here in a moment. Demand for nuclear bunkers is soaring in the United Kingdom. So, cheerio, mate. Japan is holding an adult diaper fashion show called Omutsu to support its aging population and change negative views amid a record low birth rates. More adult diapers are sold in Japan than baby diapers, with companies now looking to diversify product lines and develop new markets. You know it's bad when they're doing a adult diaper fashion show. I don't know. You know, last night on PrepperNow, I was kind of jacking around with this group in the University of Wisconsin that was talking about like promotion of like kinky sex and stuff like that. I don't believe in that, but I believe there should be incentivization to having children and raising families, and Japan better get on the ball on that right now, because they're in dire straits. Zelensky and Council of Europe signed an accord for a Ukrainian war tribunal, which would allow Putin and top Russian officials to be prosecuted for a crime of aggression. Yep, that's going to go through. World leaders have pledged $9 billion for Gavi. Jab alliance with EU's von der Leyen saying investing in health is investing in our shared future. Our work with Gavi saves lives. For over 20 years, we have stood side by side with the European Union, contributing over euro 3.2 billion to jab more than 1 billion children against deadly diseases. So they think they're doing God's work. Salmonella cases in the UK hit a decade high, with the United Kingdom Health Security Agency urging heightened precautions. Now, this is an interesting one, and I think, folks, you really need to cook your food thoroughly. You need to look at what you got in your food now. Our food, especially in America, is absolute trash. And obviously in the United Kingdom, they're having issues themselves. But I mean, it is just, I mean, our food is poop in America. And the stuff we get, man, the I've seen meat where I wouldn't feed it to my dog in the grocery store. So make sure you're cooking things thoroughly and doing all the safety precautions. United States Supreme Court rules that states can cut Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood. Court was split 6-3. Big problems for Planned Parenthood. That's not going to go well because states like Utah, Texas, Florida, they're going to be cutting them out post haste. Netanyahu is in talks to visit the United States for a meeting with Trump. So that's going to happen. A little victory lap over here. But according to the Ayatollah, the Iranians won. Lindsey Graham, after a closed-door Iran intel briefing, said, "I don't know where the 900 pounds of highly enriched uranium exists, but it wasn't part of the target set." So we're good, folks. We're good. Israel did not destroy all of Iran's highly enriched uranium. U.S.-Israeli position is that Iran will be asked to hand over the material, according to Israeli Defense Minister Katz. I'm sure that won't set up for the next installment of the old war. Remember, they were attacking the crap out of each other in April of 2024. Like, we're going into round 3 here pretty soon. French embassy in Israel announced that French military forces were not involved in the attacks on Iran. So you're good. North Paris doesn't need to burn now. However, French air defense systems and fighter jets intercepted Iranian missiles and drones heading towards Israel. Meantime, Trump has called for dropping Netanyahu's trial on corruption. Trump is ready to meet Putin in Turkey for talks on Ukraine, according to Mr. Erdogan. Iranian authorities have threatened to mine the Strait of Hormuz, a key route for transporting oil and gas, if Israel violates the ceasefire. That's according to the New York Times. So we shall see. But we're not out of the woods of this whole thing yet. Thousands of people have protested in London, UK, stop the government from spraying toxic chemicals into the air to stop so-called climate change made with chemtrails. I mean, maybe they should go with big old Bill Gates' plan to blot out the sun. I don't know. Another thing they could do is just kind of let things unfold and stop trying to manipulate the world's atmosphere. I don't know. I could see unintended consequences with that. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says it is time for a new world order. Oh, great. People love that. Now I'm going to get the moniker on this thing, too, below the video, just because this is what this guy thinks. He said, he wants Canada to take a similar stance in Europe on climate and the UN 2030 goals. That's from Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm not saying that I think he's a prime minister. And that's the news, and you mark my words. You mark my words. This video will have that little thing below it. Because nobody works at YouTube anymore. It's all AI. U.S. intelligence discovered that Pakistan is secretly developing nuclear-tipped ballistic missiles capable of reaching the United States, according to Iran Daily 24. I read this a few different places. They're saying basically they want to have that ability. And the reason why is if they get into another dust-up with India, they want America to think twice. So they want intercontinental ballistic missiles. Yeah. So that could be a problem. Germany, 6 military trucks were burned in Erfurt by the Antifa far-left group Agenda 2029. Claim responsibility. Place where the equipment was burned is a logistics hub for arms deliveries to Ukraine. Agenda 2029 threatens Germany will become the scene of global war escalation, so we will sabotage the arsonists. Okay. 9.2 million people in Australia, or 43% of Australians, almost 1 in 2, have less than $1,000 in savings, according to Finder's Consumer Sentiment Tracker. Now, I would imagine that America is in the same boat. I bet half of our population barely has enough to handle a $400 fix on their car. And now basically a $400 fix in your car is getting your brakes done as you get an oil change. Australia's in trouble. The world is in trouble. Trump is considering to offer Iran $30 billion in other benefits for Iran to give up a nuclear bomb. According to CNN, the Trump administration is reportedly discussing the possibility of providing Iran $30 billion to build a civilian energy-producing nuclear program. He also is ready to ease sanctions and free up billions of dollars in restricted Iranian funds as part of a plan to de-escalate tensions with Iran. So, I don't know. I don't hate it. I'm gonna be honest with you. If we can get them to enrich and use it for power, and then they don't go nuclear, I don't know. Is the Ayatollah and the IRGC a bunch of pieces of crap? Yeah, most governments are. But the domestic population, if they can come in and just be like, if they can just become a normal country, whatever that may look like, I don't see a negative to it. But we'll see. Israel and Iran are going to fight again. We're going to get round 3 here in the not-so-distant future. Acting Navy chief warns the United States is using missile interceptors at an alarming rate in the Mideast. Brian Schatz, Hawaii. Latest round of conflict in the Middle East utilized large amounts of munitions to defend Israel from Iranian strikes. Does the Navy currently have all the SM-3s it needs for global threats? Kilby, Naval Operations Acting Chief, said that, I'll take this. We do, sir, but we are, to your point, using them in an alarming rate. As you know, those are missiles procured by the Missile Defense Agency and then delivered to the Navy for our use, and we are using them quite effectively in the defense of Israel. Reason Israel and the United States agreed to a ceasefire with no agreements, this is according to Intel Slav, it's a Russian channel, on nuclear matters while offering concessions to Iran is simple. The Iranians had exhausted the Israeli air defense network. And there was a lot of evidence that that was starting to happen. We had multiple reports to this effect in the last few days, and Monday was the first time the interception rate had dropped to 50% with the first successful Iranian strike on Israeli power infrastructure, which is a well-known weakness for Israel. Talking about Haifa. So, central bankers are eyeing gold and the euro and the yuan as the dollar dominance is waning. This is for all you Americans out there. Custodians of trillions of dollars of global central bank reserves are eyeing a move away from the greenback into gold, the euro, and China's yuan as the splintering of world trade and geopolitical upheaval spark a rethink of financial flows. According to a report by the Official Monetary and Financial Institutions Forum, or OMFIF, due to be published later on Tuesday, 1 in 3 central banks managing combined $5 trillion plan to increase exposure to gold over the next 1 to 2 years after stripping out those planning to decrease the highest in at least 5 years. Survey of 75 central banks carried out between March and May gives a first snapshot of the repercussions of the United States President Donald Trump's April 2nd Liberation Day tariffs that sparked market turmoil and a slide in the safe haven dollar and U.S. treasuries. Gold, which central banks have already been adding at a record pace, benefiting even further long-term, net 40% of central banks planning to increase their gold holdings over the next decade. Dollar, most popular currency in the last year's survey, fell to 7th place this year. 7th place. 70% of those surveyed saying the United States political environment was discouraging them from investing in the dollar, more than twice the share a year ago. Currencies euro and yuan stand to benefit the most from a diversification from the dollar. Euro's share of gold reserves will almost surely rise over the next few years, not so much because Europe is viewed so much more favorably, but because the dollar status is diminished, said Kenneth Rogoff, Harvard professor, IMF chief economist, told Reuters. ECB President Christine Lagarde has also urged action to bolster the euro as a viable dollar alternative. The euro is the only real alternative currency for the moment to make a significant change in the level of reserves. And it's realistic for the euro to reach 25% share of global reserves in 2 to 3 years. No issues are addressed, if those issues are addressed. And also another sign that the USD hegemony is over. Historically, when the United States interest rates were higher than other countries, the United States dollar would strengthen. Not now. The United States dollar is declining despite every high interest or very high interest rates. It's a new world. So we're having problems. Okay? U.S. Treasuries posted a $316 billion budget deficit in May, third largest on record. This comes, total government outlays rose 3% year over year to $687 billion per zero hedge, while tariff revenue surged 270% year over year to a record $23 billion. It barely made a dent in the deficit. First 8 months of fiscal year 2025, the budget gap now stands at $1.37 trillion, third largest in history. 12-month federal deficit now stands at $2 trillion, or 6.7% GDP, up from 6.1 a year ago. Deficit spending crisis is worsening. We're heading towards really bad stuff. Financial Times, citing Ukrainian intelligence, reports that Russia has stockpiled over 13,000 missiles and is capable of producing up to 200 more each month. Article notes that Russia is no longer dependent on supplies from Iran, as domestic production of drones and missiles has been established. Carolina Lion on X. This guy does good work. Looks like we used about 15% of our THAAD inventory in less than 2 weeks, defending Israel from Iranian ballistic missiles, which means we would likely run out of air defense munitions in about 6 weeks in a war against Russia or China. Trump has announced that during the NATO summit that the United States is negotiating the purchase of 15 icebreakers from Finland. You are the king of icebreakers. You make them good. So we negotiated for 15 icebreakers. One of them is available now, Trump said. U.S. Director of Federal Housing, Pulte, said today, I ordered the great Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to prepare their business to count cryptocurrency as an asset for a mortgage. Carolina Lion comments that if you thought the 2008 housing crisis was something, wait till you see what's coming next down the pipeline. Migrants and youth turned an annual music festival in France into another round of mass brawls. Now, we just got back from France. I know what it looks like, and it wasn't terrible, but it was a big city. It had bad traffic and everything. But I did see one burning vehicle, for the record. In France, the Festival de la Musique is celebrated every June, a festival that was launched 30 years ago amid signs and aims to promote music amongst the population. Over its 30-year history in Paris, the festival, in parallel with the increase in the number of migrants, has come a long way from a large-scale European culture event to a demonstration of progressive African-Arab multiculturalism and diversity. In just one night of the festival in Paris, 371 people were arrested, 51 vehicles were burned, 1,500 injured, 14 of them seriously, 6 people were stabbed, and 145 women were injected with an unknown substance, most likely drugs via syringes. Bad. After the injection of the substance, some of the victims felt worse. Others experienced dizziness. Migration from Africa and Asia has ruined the public event in France, according to that post. President Trump has brokered a comprehensive agreement to end hostilities in Gaza within 2 weeks. Under the plans, Hamas will be removed from power and replaced by a joint Arab administrative body composed of Egypt, United Arab Emirates, and additional Arab nations. Remaining Hamas leadership will be exiled and all hostages are to be released. Multiple countries have agreed to accept large numbers of Gazans residents seeking voluntary immigration. The deal also expands the Abraham Accords, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and other Arab and Muslim nations agreeing to recognize Israel and establish diplomatic relations. In parallel, Israel has expressed conditional openness to a future two-state solution contingent upon significant reforms within the Palestinian Authority. As part of the agreement, the United States will recognize limited Israeli sovereignty in portions of the West Bank. This is a major move. It could be a game changer. So when I say, are we looking at a different Middle East? That's what I'm talking about. China is diversifying its currency reserves out of the U.S. dollar. Share of U.S. Treasury holdings in total Chinese FX reserves has declined by 15 percentage points since 2016 to 22%, near the lowest in at least 15 years. Over the same period, gold share has risen 5 percentage points to a record 6.8%. Trend accelerated in 2022, and since then, gold share of Chinese reserves has doubled. Over this time, China has acquired 200 tons of gold. Gold is more desired than ever. Correct. Major new developments in the coming weeks from the Middle East. Immediately after the American attack on Iran's nuclear facilities, there was a quadruple phone call. Trump, Marco Rubio, Netanyahu, and Ron Dermer, who is the Minister of Strategic Affairs. Trump and the Prime Minister of Israel intend to quickly break into new peace agreements with Arab countries, expansion of the Abraham Accords, and according to the principles were followed in the general lines, the war in Gaza will end in 2 weeks. Termination conditions will include entry of 4 Arab countries, including Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Gaza Strip, in the place of murderous Hamas terror organization. What is left of the Hamas leadership will be exiled to other countries. And of course, the hostages will be released. Several countries around the world are expected to absorb many residents of Gaza who wish to emigrate. The Abraham Accords will be expanded to Syria, Saudi Arabia, and Arab Muslim countries will recognize Israel, establish official relations with it. Israel will express its willingness to resolve the conflict with the Palestinians in the future under the concept of a two-state solution, and this is conditional on reforms of the Palestinian Authority. The United States will recognize the application of some Israeli sovereignty in Judea and Samaria. So, redundant, but it needs to be driven home that it is a major deal. Operation Midnight Hammer, 15 years for one strike. In 2009, a U.S. intelligence officer was shown a secret nuclear site buried deep in the Iranian mountains. For over 15 years, he and his teammates studied every detail: geology, air vents, construction, equipment, knowing it wasn't peaceful. But the U.S. had no weapon that could destroy it, so they helped develop the GBU-57, or the MOP, or Massive Ordnance Penetrator. In June 2025, the call came, the president ordered the strike, and here we are. Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was not involved in the decision-making regarding the ceasefire with Israel, according to a report today by the Iranian opposition website Iran International. So we know it's true. CNN is backtracking big time as they air that Trump was right. The Iran strikes were effective. The leaked intel report was wrong. It worked. It seemed to have worked flawlessly. 20,000 centrifuges. They're all completely destroyed. Iran rejects claims of upcoming meeting with the United States. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has dismissed reports of a scheduled meeting with the United States next week, contradicting remarks made by President Donald Trump. Araghchi stated that Tehran has no current plans to engage in talks with Washington and is still evaluating whether future negotiations would align with Iran's national interests. Russian Security Council says we have no intention of supplying Iran with nuclear warheads. Good. Europe's militaries are dependent upon American hardware. Nearly half of all fighter jets and over 40% of missile systems in use by the EU, or the 27 member states, UK and Norway, are sourced from the United States. Past 5 years, the EU 27, UK, Norway, and Switzerland have bought more than 15,000 missiles, 2,400 armored vehicles, and 340 aircraft from the United States. Trump has claimed he signed a deal with China yesterday. We'll see what that has probably tomorrow. Former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb says RFK Jr.'s fall autism report will link aluminum to autism, which could spark lawsuits and drive jab makers out of the market. New Texas law tied to Trump's Make America Healthy Again agenda will require warning labels on foods with dyes and additives stating not recommended for human consumption. A proposal from New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani has resurfaced, where he called for higher taxes on mostly white neighborhoods to ease the tax burden on other portions of the city. It's a changing world. It's a changing Mideast. And it's all covered here. Look at all this. Look at it. Look at it. All covered here on your crisis report. That's right. Folks, thanks so much for being here. Hit that like button, do the subscribe thing, darken out the bell. We do this nightly. We tell you all about it. We tell you what's going on, give you a nice theme, and we let you know. I really appreciate you being here. PrepperNow is about to cross into 50,000 subscriber territory. That's cool. The old crisis report, we had a big marker the other day. We got past 10,600. Yeah. We were at 10,500 for about a year. So, yeah. Yep. All brought to you by Tube. We appreciate you, Tube. We love coming here and doing it. Subscribers and stuff, please darken out that bell if you're new here. Hit the buttons. We appreciate you. Give it a like, a share. Tell people what we're doing, and we will see you on the next one. Friends, have a great night. Check out the links in the description. And we're going to start making more videos. You'll see. God bless.